Hey everybody, now that we've done our very simple console.log hello world, let's talk a little bit about data modeling, but not actual data modeling. What we're going to do here is we're going to think about real life objects in terms of code. Actual data modeling has to do with database and process design, but we don't really worry about that yet. For right now, we just want to take something that is a real world object, in this case a book, and we're going to model it as code. So one way we could do this, I've got a book here, Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. I could say let book equal a novel by Aldous Huxley written in, where did he write this? Oh boy, it looks like he wrote it a while ago. Honestly, who cares? 1940s, and is about a fantasy of the future that sheds a blazing critical light on the present. Book is called Brave New World. Now, if you were hanging out with a friend of yours inside of, a pub or a bar or a restaurant, or a park, I guess, and he asked you about a book you're reading, you could tell him this. You say, it's a novel by Aldous Huxley written in the 1940s, and it's about a fantasy of the future that sheds a blazing critical light on the present, and the book is called Brave New World. And your friend would understand that. Your friend would be like, oh, good, I read that, or oh, nerd. Hopefully he wouldn't say that. Unless you guys are very good friends, in which case it'd be good for a little bit of repartee. But anyway, while that is convenient for your friend in the park or the bar or the pub, it's not necessarily convenient for a computer, although it could be. But in terms of what we mean by it being convenient for a computer is that, let's say we wanted to ask, hey, when was this book written? We would have to somehow figure out a way to read this in, process the fact that it's described in the 1940s as when the book was written, and then output that somehow. So the way we get around that is we could actually set up this book as, rather than just a string containing all its details, we could create it as an object. So we'll say let book object equal, we'll take two curly braces, and that's how we'll create our object. And here we can define what are called properties. Properties are going to be associations between keys and values, and this is going to facilitate a little bit more writing information for the program or for the computer rather than writing information for people. So we could come up with a couple of properties. Let's say title, Brave New World. And we want a comma separating our properties. Let's say published, and we'll say 1940. You know what? I should look that up. I got the book right here. It was copyrighted in 1998, but that's just the cover. Copyright published in 1932. Okay. So we'll change this to say 1932, and this to also say 1932. And we say author is going to be Aldous Huxley. How do we spell Huxley? There we go. And then description. And this is where we could put this entire, I'm going to copy that. So now we could see that given the way objects work, we could quickly get access to a bunch of different things. And we'll do so using our console.log statement, so we can see it over on the right here. We could say, what is the title of my book? We could say book object.title. And we could say Brave New World. Same thing for the description. So as you can see, this is how you want to start picturing things. It's going to help you out in your programming journey if you eventually start considering that everything you've ever described like this has a way for it to be described like this. Now, there are tons of different ways to do it. The process of going from something that is a rote description usable for a human to a description which is useful for a visualization which is, or a description of it that's useful for a computer program or a process or an algorithm is wildly, let's say, expansive. There's lots of different ways to do this. Getting used to a couple is a great way to start, though. So that's all for now. We're going to keep moving. We'll do this with another example. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one.